It is actually Monday evening, 7:30 on Monday night. I tried to wake up a few times yesterday, and it didn't happen. I need new batteries. So yeah, I was up at it was like late, and then I tried to get up this morning. But I mean, I guess I got up today around. It was afternoon, anyways. But I tried to get up a couple of times today, and I just got up again like an hour ago. So it's a good like 36 hours worth of sleep almost. Um, like I say, I was up for a couple hours in between, but it was a lot of sleeping. So we'll forget about yesterday. Um, Today, well, whatever that. I did my hair. I'm gonna need to do a compost run soon. I did the blurbs for season 13. I think we wrote that off. Okay, and we need to get back to season 14. Okay. One of the things I need to do tonight is determine whether or not I want to go to see the Rachmaninov Symphony sometime next weekend. They're early. The one on Saturdays at like 10:45, and it's like 3 o'clock show on Sunday. Um, is it? No, it's Monday's the holiday in the States. Okay, but Sunday is like stuff will be open Sunday night. In fact, there's a big festival in Detroit on Memorial Day weekend called the Movement Festival. I'm not going to be going directly to the festival. It's very expensive, and like all of these expensive festivals, it's like way too many people there. Um, it's loud, but it's boring, and it's just not the way that I have fun myself. But I may go to a after party if I can find one that looks like it's worth attending. And that's not certain, especially if I'm going over at 3 o'clock. There's nothing that I can see that I would like really kind of pick out, right? The one that I might kind of want to like go do is gonna be close, like it's done at 1. So probably not gonna want to go there. It's a house town, and there's gonna be house parties on house music parties with house music playing on every corner, every bar on every corner. It's gonna be just boom, 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 boom. I'm sure there'll be plenty of dubstep too, but I mean it's not. I'm not gonna find what I want, and I know that. I moved here. It's not up for the city. It's not up for the city to conform to my likings, but it's still just I know better. Such as the reality of the situation. So, if I go to the Rachmaninoff Symphony, then I'm probably gonna want to stay. Um, but I mean, like, if it's like 3 to 6 or something, like I'm gonna want to get something to eat and like get there at 9, which is I mean a long weekend I guess, but I mean it's like I'm not certain how I'm gonna raise cash. I've got this DVD player here with a broken tape deck on top of it. Um, I've got a record player I'm considering maybe, but I mean like I'm not gonna get like I might get $20 for that and $30 for that Canadian. And that's generous on myself. Wishful thinking probably in fact. So um, if it's a long night, like if I'm going to the symphony and getting something to eat, it's almost like I'm taking myself on a date, right? So I mean this is not it's not a cheap night. So, but I mean I'm probably not going to want to go at all if I don't go to the symphony. So it's kind of weighing that. Right now, I'd say actually that I'm probably not going anywhere this weekend. Probably, but I said that last weekend too. Right. The other obscure possibility is that I might get my ruling in from the judge, and I might get a couple of dollars thrown at me as a consequence of that. In which case, the universe would save the day. Probably not. It might be the only way this happens. So, but I mean, that's one of the things. I'm not familiar. I'm mostly familiar with Rachmaninov's piano work. This is a violin concerto, and he's writing for an instrument that my understanding is he's never played. So those are always kind of iffy scenarios. You need to write for the instrument that you're most familiar with, and you cannot familiarize familiar size. This is a familiar size. But you cannot familiarize yourself with an instrument by reading about it in a book. You need to actually pick your instrument up, and you need to love it, and express yourself with it. And you do. So, especially at the point that you're writing, like, okay, maybe you can write like a backing part or something if you've never played an instrument, right? And I mean, I do that, right? I write parts for instruments that I don't know how to play. But they're like, harmonies or whatever. If you're writing a symphony or a concerto for an instrument, it's really imperative that you actually play the damn instrument. Just because, okay. Again, there's always caveats, and there will be a certain bourgeois audience, a certain subset of it. Even the broader bourgeois audience isn't gonna. The bourgeois audience is gonna fall for things, right? But even the bourgeois audience won't fall for this. If you don't know how to play your instrument, you should not be writing for it, right? But there's a subset of the bourgeois audience that will fall for it, and they're just interested in the pomp and the experience of going to the symphony, and this sort of thing. But anyone who's actually listening to the music is going to instantly call you on it. They're like, "You don't play that, do you? You don't play that instrument. You're full of shit." Right? Stop bullshitting me. Go home, learn how to play the damned instrument, then write a symphony for it, and come back when you're done. Okay? Don't pawn this off on me here. Okay? Do your fucking homework and come back when you're finished. Now, Rachmaninov himself, I'm a fan of Rachmaninov. I cite Rachmaninov frequently in my most absurdist moments. He's a favorite foil. But I'm not familiar with this, and I'm a little bit apprehensive about it. I would like to think that I should give him the benefit of the doubt, but I do want to do, given the circumstances, I do want to do a little bit of research first and see. If it was one of his piano concertos, I'd be there, right? Sell a kidney or something. What you have to wonder, like, it's possible you could have, if we sell off enough kidneys, could we develop a genetic mutation for 3 kidneys? I know that's orthogenesis, that's teleological, it's, but I mean, but at the same time, it's kind of a cool idea, right? Like, if we could adapt that well, right? To be born with an extra kidney as a bargaining, but then again, if that's the case, then people are going to require a kidney transplant that much less often because they have 3, so they can lose one, right? This is where we have this is where we discuss the most important issues pressing us in the present and in the future here on this vlog. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Um, I guess there's some other stuff I got to get off on this piece of paper here. I kind of don't want to get directly right into the blurbs again because I kind of want to wait it out a little bit. Meaning, I think there's some things I want to do with the laptop, and I may even get back to the show reviews. It's getting close. Well, I mean, I wanted to clean in here because there was dust from the laptop, but I mean, I think it's that was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So I kind of maybe missed my window there. And I'm going to be cleaning near the end of the month anyway, so that might even just get jumped. And I want to get. I'm putting off the laptop run because I wanted to buy some shoes, but it's just like, is that ever going to happen? It might never happen. I've got what, 1, 2, 3 big ones. Yeah, and all kinds of coffee. So that might. We'll see what we feel like in the morning, but that might be it. And in fact, I mean, I could be awake for the next 3 days, or I could fall back asleep right again. It's one of those. I clearly overslept. We'll see. I think that this was. I didn't get a coffee on the way home yesterday. Although I mean I didn't. Or yesterday it was. Sorry. No, yeah, it was. It was yesterday morning. I normally get a coffee, but I didn't have the cash on me. Or I did have the cash on me, but I decided to get Doritos instead. But I mean, I didn't I stayed up long enough to take a shower. Before I hit the hay. I didn't eat though. I had to. And that's what I woke up last night. I got something to eat, which was the Doritos and a smoothie. And then I instantly fell back to sleep, right? So, like I said, let me give this Rachmaninov symphony a spin, and we'll see. I like violin music, but I like my violin music to be dark, right? Like it's got to be like. I like the whole like nihilistic aesthetic, right? One of my favorite violin pieces is Tabula Rasa by Arvo Part, which is like before his. This is like, well, it's not even. It's kind of like in between, right? Because Arvo Part had like an early period when he was doing like concrete kind of stuff, and then like I think it was after 1980 he started doing like religious choral music. But he seems to like in the 70s, I guess he was going through his discovery phase where he's, struggling with the futility of existence. Perhaps he was, and the pieces that came out of it during that like really dark, just twisted pieces coming out from the depths of hell, right, and channeled through a soul. And this is the kind of violin music that I insist upon. If we're gonna do violin music, it's got to be gut wrenching. I listen to a lot of post rock in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. But I mean that's more minimalist, right? I'm not. I'm expecting. I mean, this is Rachmaninov, so I'm expecting it to be fancy. Listen to me talk about classical music. It's gonna be real fancy. No, but it is like a lot of written at a lot more notes. Put it that way. More faster, harder. It's just lots and lots of notes, because that's Rachmaninoff for you, right? But it's not just lots of notes, right? It's lots of notes with, or actually, let me rephrase that. This is the point that I'm trying to determine. When Rachmaninov composes for his violin, does he merely throw lots of notes at you, as an academic type composition would imply? Or is he able to throw all of these notes at you in such a way that um, uh, uh, that holds to the standards of expression that his piano works to? Right? If it's boring, it'll sound like, like Mahler or something. And I'm kind of hoping that's not it, right? I mean, it might. Maybe kind of the same. He wasn't that far, right? And it might kind of end up in there, right? I mean, I know that Rachmaninoff. I believe Rachmaninoff was always strictly tonal, but it's kind of not the point, right? Just the same kind of, here's some notes. You're in a sterile place. Keep a stiff upper lip and don't deviate. Like, is it going to be like that? But again, like I say, because like Rachmaninoff's piano works are so known for their expressive capacity, like I'll be extremely disappointed if it turns out that that's what I end up listening to. We will have to see, and this is going to be a key part of the night. Um, well, you know what? I'm sure that we'll come back and talk um, once I've experienced the symphony, and we'll figure out what I'm going to do after that. I have already eaten, so uh, whatever I end up doing, we'll just be getting that. I'll just be getting to it, right? I'll probably get to the laptop, but we'll talk later. Well, it's 4 a.m. and I've certainly decided against the Rachmaninoff. Um, it's kind of what I feared. It's the generic period piece. Could have been written by anybody. There's no, virtuoso focus. It's just kind of, generic, boring, late romantic music. Following all the same formulas, same patterns. It's just like, I guess it was before Rachmaninoff found himself. Um, and I don't know why they would pick a piece like that, anyways. So, I know I said that probably disqualifies me, but I took a look at it and it's kind of more like, why not just go and have fun anyways? It's. I've mentioned a few times that I'm getting a little older, and I don't know how many more times I'm going to do this. It looks like I've been able to find places I could hang out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but they progressively get more expensive, right? It's the Saturday night show that I think is particularly ridiculously priced. But that leaves me with the problem of how it is that I raise the money to do it. I don't think I have anything here to sell at this point. The vinyl's all gone, and good riddance to it. The DVD player I checked is not worth anything. The record player I could maybe get a few more dollars for, but it probably would only, I might get enough for one night or maybe two, right? And I kind of don't really want to sell the player, right? Even if I never use it, having a record player has a certain value to it. It's irrational in a certain sense, right? But I mean, you never know, right? At this point, I can't think of any reason why I'd want to play a record at all, ever. But still, I guess there's always the potential of like, what if something only exists on vinyl, right? And if I had to, well, I think nowadays you can find just about anything, in a digital download. The premise that something only exists on vinyl is, well, I mean, there's lots of stuff that was never, that it had a pressing years and years ago on vinyl. It was never repressed. But I mean, myself, I don't really think that there's much I would listen to in that category. Um, there's gonna be some stuff that was, you know, pressed only on cassette, maybe. Although I can't come up with any examples. I'm just thinking like maybe early industrial, but I mean it's all been digitized, right? Anything pretty much that I can imagine that was only released on vinyl exists in digital form. I mean, I probably wouldn't know it exists at all otherwise, right? And I mean, the only other counterexample are like maybe some obscure singles, but I don't want to play them, you know. So it's just like I said, I can't think of any reason why I'd ever want to actually play something that's a vinyl. It's just there's essentially no circumstance I can come up with, and yet I remain attached to the record player. Everything's expensive this weekend. This is why I planned not to go out this weekend because I knew everything was expensive. And I mean, even if I was able to sell the record player tomorrow, it really wouldn't be enough. That's the truth of it, right? I'm actually considering busking. Something I've never done before. Really, not seriously. I'm gonna just take a nap right now. My battery's just about out, but I'm gonna take a nap and we'll see what I feel like about busking when I wake up. I'm gonna be busking for movement money. And my accounting suggests I'm gonna need over $300. I've got 3 days. We'll see what I feel like when I wake up. I could do it. Seriously. I'm actually almost thinking it's just an excuse to play guitar for a few days. Because I don't do that very often anymore, do I?